Let's begin today's story in the Jedi Temple. Ahsoka has just been expelled from the Jedi Order. Confused and conflicted, she leaves, not knowing what to do with herself. She had given her heart and soul to the Jedi, only to be cast aside and accused of crimes she did not commit. No one believed in her, except her master, but now she must find her own path in the Force. The darkness inside her grew, fueled by her desires of betrayal and abandonment. It was in the underbelly of Coruscant where she first encountered Asajj Ventress, the former apprentice of the Sith Lord Count Dooku, who had also betrayed her. The two found common ground, both in exile after their masters abandoned them. Ventress, as the older of the two, became a mentor of sorts to Ahsoka, teaching her to embrace her anger and resent the dogmatic ways of the Jedi. She convinced Ahsoka that it was the Jedi who were at fault for the war, their strict adherence to their principles that had led to chaos across the galaxy. Ahsoka had always known this was true, but Ventress brought these opinions to the front of her mind. Ahsoka and Ventress formed a bond, akin to that of a strong sibling relationship. Although Ahsoka was originally opposed to the notion of the Darkside, she unintentionally gave herself over to it. Through spending every second with Ventress, their beliefs and values shifted without her even noticing. Ventress introduced Ahsoka to the Darkside, teaching her the art of manipulation and deception. Her powers grew, evolving past any level of strength that we have ever seen Ahsoka wield before. And so, her ideology shifted. Ahsoka desired to bring peace to the galaxy and save its people, but now she does it in her own way with the aid of the Darkside. She would bring order to the galaxy, but she would do it on her own terms, with the Darkside as her source of power. However, Ventress was not being completely honest, and she had underlying motives for befriending Ahsoka. She wanted revenge against her old master, and would manipulate Ahsoka into helping her. She hatched a plan to assassinate Count Dooku, who was an architect of much of the war's devastation. She convinced Ahsoka that their combined strength could end the conflict and prevent further atrocities to the people of the galaxy. With Dooku's death, the war would practically end, but in reality, Ventress only sought revenge. The chance to end the war was something Ahsoka could not pass up, and she fell right into Ventress's manipulation. Under her time as his apprentice, Ventress learned many things about Dooku, primarily that he would often travel to an abandoned industrial facility on Coruscant. If they could ambush his arrival and catch him by surprise, then surely they would kill him. But this was the second time they had attempted to kill her master. The first time ended poorly for her, despite the fact that she had blinded Dooku in the process. She travels to her Night Sister family and asks for their assistance once again. She needed dark magic, a spell that would play on Dooku's emotions so powerfully that he would surely falter and die. The plan was ready. As Ahsoka and Ventress arrived at the abandoned industrial facility, they catch Dooku by surprise, igniting their lightsaber and swinging for his head. But Dooku was the master of Form 2, the form that focused on lightsaber combat. He wouldn't be killed easily. As Dooku pressed forward, he began to gain the upper hand on the two Darkside users. Now was the time for their plan. As the spell was cast, from the shadows the figure of Qui-Gon Jinn appeared, Dooku's old apprentice. The Count immediately paused, staring into the eyes of his former friend. He couldn't believe it. Dooku was paralyzed in place. He hadn't seen his apprentice in decades. Ventress smirked as she knew the plan had succeeded. Dooku, in his final moments, realized he's been tricked, but it's too late. Ventress lunges forward and stabs the blade through Dooku's heart, killing him. Laughter left Ventress's chest. She had done it, finally rid the galaxy of the man who had caused her so much pain. But her celebration was short-lived, as she felt her windpipe close and her feet left the floor. Clutching her hands to her neck, she gasped for air, but this force choke was more powerful than anything she had ever felt before. From the corner, a shadowy figure emerged, his hood covering his face. It was Darth Sidious. Sidious, his eyes burning with malevolent fire of the dark side, approached Ahsoka slowly. His cunning and precise words caught Ahsoka's attention. He explained that Dooku achieved nothing, he was useless, but together, he and Ahsoka could achieve marvelous things. Ahsoka is skeptical. This being is far more powerful than anyone she has ever encountered. He tells Ahsoka that she's been used by Ventress, manipulated into helping her achieve her desires. She only used her as a pawn in her own sick game of revenge. Ahsoka's heart pounded in her chest, torn between the teachings of the Jedi and the promises of the dark side. She felt an overwhelming surge of anger, not just towards Ventress, but towards the Jedi Order that had abandoned her. But now, Ventress has also betrayed her. She knew Sidious was right. All she wanted was her power. She never cared about her noble reasoning to kill Dooku, to save the galaxy, but Sidious explained that he does. He asked her to join him, and together they can achieve real power to change the galaxy, but for the better. Ahsoka senses the truth in his voice. He is the key to bringing about change and order and stability to the galaxy. Ahsoka joins Sidious. Sidious smirks as he slams his fist shut and snaps Ventress's neck. She is dead. Sidious honed her connection to the dark side, teaching her to channel her anger, hatred, and fear into potent sources of power. She learned to manipulate the Force in ways that defied the Jedi's teachings, unleashing devastating attacks and delving into the secrets of Sith alchemy. Sidious encouraged her to tap into her darkest emotions, fueling her strength with the very feelings the Jedi had once warned her to suppress. With every lesson, Ahsoka's once bright spirit became increasingly entangled in the shadows, her transformation into a Sith apprentice, all but complete. Sidious deployed Ahsoka into the heart of the battlefield. She wore a menacing Sith helmet to keep her identity concealed. As she fought alongside the Separatists, Ahsoka unleashed the Darkside's destructive power, winning battles and forging her identity as a fearsome Force user. The Jedi were deceived by her helmet of death, and rumors arose about the potential of Ventress's return to the Separatists. Sidious observed Ahsoka's progress with sinister satisfaction, pleased with how her training had progressed. He knew that his plan was proceeding according to design. With Ahsoka growing stronger by the day, he had revealed only fragments of his plan to her, a small taste of power and control that they will achieve together. Ahsoka's connection to her close friend, Anakin Skywalker, was a critical piece of the puzzle, and a strong reason as to why she was chosen to be his apprentice. We're now in the final days of the Clone War. After Anakin is denied the rank of Master by the Jedi Council, Palpatine knows that now is the correct time to reveal his identity to the Jedi and pull him to the dark side. Sidious senses Anakin's dreams of Padme dying in childbirth, and uses this as the perfect opportunity to lure him to the dark side. He shares the enticing story of Darth Plagueis, a Sith Lord who could cheat death and wield powers beyond the reaches of the Jedi. Summoning young Skywalker, he explains that he has the knowledge of the dark side and the power to save Padme from death, only if he joins him as its Sith Lord. Anakin stares into Palpatine's eyes, his feelings conflicted, both rage, but also intrigue and desire. As Anakin contemplates what to do next, his old apprentice, Ahsoka Tano, emerges from the shadows next to Palpatine. She pleads for Anakin to join them. The only man who can save the galaxy is Sidious. Palpatine smirks when he hears this. He believes he has done it, turning Anakin to the dark side and assuring his ascendancy. There's no way Anakin would ignore the pleas of his failed apprentice, an opportunity to right the wrongs of his past. But his plan backfires. Anakin ignites his blue lightsaber as he commands their attention. Anakin looks upon his old apprentice, the sweet and caring Ahsoka that would do anything to help others. Now look what has become of her. He could smell the dark side dripping from her body, the love and joy gone, consumed by darkness. This was his fault. He had failed her, but he wouldn't let this remain her fate. He would save her. Motioning his blade before Palpatine, he explains that he would pay for what he has done. Palpatine's smirk turns into pure hatred as he raises Ahsoka into the air, closing her windpipe. If Anakin would not turn, then he would die. Anakin and Palpatine lunge towards each other, their lightsabers clashing in a ferocious battle. Ahsoka remained paralyzed in mid-air, gasping for breath. As Palpatine held the connection, Anakin swung with malice and intent. He was fighting to save his apprentice from the clutches of evil. As Palpatine thrusted his lightsaber towards Anakin, he could sense that his plan to bring the boy to his side had failed. The boy was not steeped in darkness, but instead radiated with light and determination. Sidious pushed Anakin back, muttering under his voice that Anakin had made his choice. Taking his crimson blade, he slashes Ahsoka through the chest and kills her. Anakin yells in defiance, but it was too late. The Togruta Sith Lord was dead. With her death, a new level of determination was unleashed within Anakin. He leaps forward and swings with his Chosen One power, insistent on carrying out his Chosen One destiny, and catches Sidious's lightsaber before thrusting his own through Palpatine's chest, killing the Sith Lord. Before leaving Palpatine's office, he takes a security recording and Ahsoka's body and heads straight for the council chambers. He tells the council exactly what had happened, presenting the security recording which validated Anakin's words. The council were absolutely delighted with this realization, and with it, the Clone Wars would come to an end. They find logs of communication between himself with Dooku and Grievous. Palpatine had colluded with the Separatists. This evidence is presented to the Galactic Senate, who reluctantly agree that Palpatine had manipulated them all, and was the man behind the Clone Wars. His entire plan was revealed, how he played both sides of the war, trained the notorious Count Dooku before his death, and ordered the creation of the clone and droid army. In his stead, Bail Organa was elected as the new Supreme Chancellor to help nurture the Republic back to its prosperous ways. Anakin was granted the rank of Master after his victory over the Sith, fulfilling the Chosen One's prophecy and bringing order to the galaxy. But Anakin couldn't help but feel the sense of guilt. He wasn't a hero. He had let his apprentice fall to the dark side and by extension get murdered. He didn't deserve this title, the title that he once would have done anything for. As the galaxy gradually found its way back to stability, Anakin Skywalker made the decision to leave the Jedi Order, sending shockwaves through the Jedi Temple. Anakin couldn't stay after what he had experienced with Ahsoka. It pained him to even think of her. He needed to ensure that the failures of the Jedi Order would not be bestowed upon his children. He would spend the remainder of his days ensuring that his children were safe and far away from the dangers that lurked throughout the galaxy. With his newfound freedom, Anakin chose to live openly and honestly. He revealed his secret marriage to Padme Amidala, much to the surprise of the Senate and galaxy at large. Padme decided to skip her next term as senator, realizing that her place was by Anakin's side as they embraced parenthood. A couple of days later, the galaxy celebrated the birth of their twin children, Luke and Leia. The birth of their children marked a new chapter in their lives, filled with the hope and promise of a brighter future. As they held their newborns in their arms, Padme and Anakin couldn't help but reflect upon Ahsoka Tano, the young and promising Jedi who had once fallen to the dark side. They vowed to raise their children in a way that honored Ahsoka's memory, teaching them the importance of balance and compassion in the Force. In the end, the galaxy was forever changed by the events that had unfolded. But through the love and determination of Anakin, Padme, and their family, there was a glimmer of hope that peace and harmony could one day be restored. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, please check out the 2 videos on screen now. Comment any more video ideas that you would like to see next, and may the Force be with you.